everyone, welcome to another Stock Talk episode here on the KE Report. I am chatting again with Quinton Hennigh, geologist, private investor, and geologic advisor to Crascat Capital. Second week in a row that Quinton and I are talking because, well, I keep getting a lot of emails from all of you and different comments asking for Quinton's thoughts on stocks that you hold. Thank you all for emailing me. Please keep on emailing me, fleck@kereport.com. In this Stock Talk episode, we're going to be focusing a bit more on exploration companies, starting off with Kingfisher Metals, moving on to Eskay Mining, then Arras Minerals, and to wrap it up, a silver producer, Santacruz Silver. Quinton, let's start off. Kingfisher Metals, the company that I got a couple emails on. This is a micro cap company here. The company just consolidated 5-to-1 their shares. Market cap is under $5 million. The, let's call it, I guess, new flagship project for the company is HWY37. This is in the Golden Triangle. It was a consolidation of the Ball Creek East project from Origin Royalties and the Hank project from Golden Ridge Resources. What's your thought on this HWY37 project? It seems, well, it's consolidated now, but it is a new asset for the company.
It is. Look, here I'm going to start by talking about the company. Okay, Dustin Perry's a very bright young lad, and I like the guy a lot. I think he's sharp, and I think he's got an equally sharp team working with him. Golden Range didn't deliver the results that everyone was hoping. It did hit, there's certainly a gold system there, but it's not a home run by any stretch. And my philosophy of life is you got to evolve or die, and I think this is a testament to that philosophy. Okay, Dustin has said, okay, what can I do here? What can I do to resurrect Kingfisher? And he's gone off and picked up this HWY37 project. It is in the Golden Triangle. It's towards the northern part of the Golden Triangle. Fortunately, it is close to HWY37. It's the highway that kind of trundles along the east side of the Golden Triangle, and it does go up to Red Chris. So Red Chris is not too far away. Okay, like Red Chris is a ways north, and then see off to the west would be Galore Creek's not too far to the west, and then GT Gold's, that Shaft Creek thing, is off to the maybe west or northwest. But even more importantly, the Kerr Sulfurettes cluster of deposits, the KSM complex, is to the south of this HWY37 property. And, I would say the geology of HWY37 resembles the KSM complex very, very closely, both in terms of the erosional level, its position, in terms of the red line and the stratigraphy and whatnot of the Golden Triangle. Very, very similar. You have clearly a cluster of porphyries across this HWY37 property that are all coming off of a plutonic complex at depth, so you got like basically multiple fingers coming off a mothership at depth. This is what makes big gold discoveries or big copper gold discoveries, finding complex geology like this where you have many different intrusions. So, they have an absolute ton of targets here, and they actually have pretty good data from the previous operators who've worked in this area that suggests, there are walk-up drill targets here. Okay, like the Hank Williams trend, that looks every bit as good as the GT zone. For example, like my recollection back in the early days with GT, there's heaps more like this Mary trend. I like this one a lot. It's got very good copper numbers, but it's so continuous. It just it reminds me of Kerr Sulfurettes quite a bit, and there are some pretty good drill intercepts, albeit not necessarily super deep, but 200-300 meter drill intercepts of 0.x gram gold and 0.3, 0.4 gram gold and 0.1, 0.2% copper. Okay, that's very intriguing. I think that's super intriguing. And how much has been tested? Probably about 5% of the target area. This thing needs a good shake. Okay, so I really like that. But there's more targets out there. There's Cliff Zone and Mary and stuff that looks good. So between Hank Williams trend and the Mary Zone, I think you've got Hank Zone. I mean, they've hit high grade there for crying out loud, like 0.8 meters of 140 grams gold or something like that. This isn't a fluke. This didn't just fall out of the sky. There's big targets here. So I think Dustin's done a good job of identifying a very high quality project. They are going to have to figure out how to raise money. You have a $4 or $5 million market cap right now, and you got a project the size of Ben-Hur. You got to go out and figure out how you're going to step up and raise money so that you don't dilute the company right back into a position where, we know how that goes.
Yes, we do. Still early stage for Kingfisher. After you have a rollback like that, clean share structure, they just need to, as you said, go out there, raise some money, and actually attack this project. Not much more to say here other than they did have their maiden drilling done last year, 6 holes for just over 2,100 meters. We'll see exactly what comes out of a future program. Let's move over to Eskay Mining, one that we've actually talked about years ago too. Eskay Mining trade on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol ESK and on the OTCQX under the symbol ESKYF. This is about a $65 million market cap. Company's project, the consolidated Eskay property, right beside Skeena, which I know a lot of people have followed the success Skeena's been having at their Eskay Creek project. But the company's been pretty quiet. What do you see Eskay Mining doing? Any more discoveries, any more drilling that's going to come out of the company?
Yeah, just to make sure, for full transparency, I am a director of Eskay. Okay, and what I find through my career, just watching different people operate, is that everybody has different risk tolerances and stuff, especially when it comes to running junior companies. And in the case of Mac Balcom, who's the CEO of Eskay, he's fairly conservative about making sure that he has cash in the treasury. So, a lot of what you're saying about hearing crickets lately is a function of the fact that they do have, I think, on the order of $2.4 million right now, and they're trying to preserve that cash. That puts them in a pretty good position compared to many junior companies out there. They're not down to say their last $100,000 in the bank or something. All right, so that's actually a good outcome. What is the plan going forward? Look, TV and Jeff, great discoveries. They're still there, right? They will be developed. My hunch is part of the greater Skeena mine story that develops over the next few years. You're going to see Skeena or whoever buys Skeena take an interest in what Eskay Mining has. TV and Jeff are basically drilled up deposits, but we do have a lot of new discoveries that were made over the last year or two. Okay, so Cumberland, for example, which is south of TV Jeff, needs more auric. We hit some really nice, solid gold-silver results, also some base metal in that system, but very good numbers last year. And then up north, we saw some really interesting results, and particularly an outcrop at Scarlet Knob of VMS mineralization that had, I think, up to 20 gram per ton gold. Okay, and this has not been drilled. Okay, so there are, very clear targets that need follow-up work. So Mac and the team there, John DeDecker and team, are planning a work program where they maximize the boots on the ground work, in terms of channel sampling and other, mapping and so forth, to try to better define these targets in preparation of drilling them at some point. Okay, whether that drilling happens this summer or not is up for debate. Maybe if the market takes off like 2020, yeah, maybe the company grabs some cash and does a drill program. They do have the drills available, so that's not really an issue. But we just don't want to be too flamboyant, too careless when we're waiting for this market to really kind of turn around and see that money start coming back into the picture. I think the other thing that's very important here is to see how Skeena develops the mine there at Eskay Creek. They've taken it through feasibility, and they've made it very clear that they're going to build a mine. Okay, we got to see them succeed at that. I think that's going to be a very important part of the story of Eskay Mining as well. When you see a mine operating at Eskay Creek, an open pit mine, I think that's the day when, whoever's running it, Skeena or whoever buys Skeena, they're going to take an interest in Eskay Mining.
Absolutely. That's definitely the area of play, but I do want to circle back around to some of those new discoveries because that really was the latest news we got back in November. Some of these discoveries from that summer drilling, that Cumberland VMS discovery, you already touched on it, but that seemed to have by far the best results. How much drilling needs to be done there to simply advance that? What's a reasonably sized program in your eyes?
Let's talk about Cumberland first of all. It's basically almost vertical, like it's been rotated, so the BMS is near vertical, like steeply dipping. Okay, and it is steep terrain. Okay, so you got to come at it from different angles to get your drill program done. It's wide open. There's nothing cutting this thing off, and we did find anomalous values at the surface. In natural strike extensions down to the south, and then even kind of up towards south of TV and Jeff, there was a pretty, well, TV in particular, there was a pretty broad area of anomalous silver numbers that was popping out at surface that we need to follow up on. So I guess what I would say is this, as a first pass, maybe 3 to 5,000 meter program would be good to start offsetting some of the drill holes that we had at Cumberland last year. But I would also allocate some of those meters, maybe do 2,500 meters right there at Cumberland, but I'd allocate maybe another 2,500 meters testing the targets that were south of TV, but also the anomalous zones north and south of Cumberland itself. So kind of have some tightly spaced holes at Cumberland and a few scattered holes to test for more mineralization along strike. Okay, so what does it take to drill something like it off? Well, probably 10, 15,000 meters ultimately, but that's a start.
All right, let's move on to Arras Minerals. So this is traded on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol ARK. I was not up to speed on this company for the individual that sent this in. They're focused in Kazakhstan, copper exploration. They have interest in 3 projects there. This is only a $15 million market cap company, but let's just start with Kazakhstan broadly as a company to explore in. Your thoughts, please.
Look, I'm going to geologically, Kazakhstan, basically most of Central Asia is one of my favorite regions on Earth. Okay, I think basically the last frontier is Central Asia in terms of discovery of big new porphyry deposits and such. Okay, so these guys are definitely in the right neighborhood. Politically, though, look, it's been very turbulent to operate in Kazakhstan. I remember back after the Soviet Union collapsed, some companies ran into Kazakhstan, open offices in Almaty, like Phelps Dodge was one I remember. And, they went out and they tried to explore and do this and do that. And then every step of the way, it seemed like some rug was pulled out from underneath them. Whether it was greed around taxes or, the political winds at any given time or whatever. But it's not been the most stable and easy place to operate. Now, I've been, look, I know Tim Berry and his team pretty well. I know these guys and I have a lot of respect for them. I think they're absolute fantastic operators. I am 100% certain that they will make big discoveries in Kazakhstan. They tell me that Kazakhstan is now turning the corner and then it's a good place to work. I'm just a little bit more conservative, and I'm waiting to see how that goes. Maybe I'm late to the party. I don't know, but I'm just holding my breath a wee bit until I can see that Kazakhstan is a place where you can drill holes, make discovery, and then the market rewards you. I guess is the best way to put it.
Fair enough. What about the company's projects then? Any interest or any more interest in any of the 3? It seems like that Elemes project, I don't know if I'm saying that correctly, that seems to be the most advanced out of them.
Yes, Elemes is. Look, and just to be clear, I mean, the terrain here is really interesting because it's kind of low, rolly hills. It's somewhat like I described for aftermath silver up in the Puno region of Peru. It's not nearly as high elevation by any stretch, but Arras has got licenses that we'll say cover geology is very similar to other well-known porphyries in this region. Okay, there are known porphyries in Kazakhstan, some developed, some aren't. But these are big deposits. They're billion tonners in some cases that are sitting there. So I would say analogies can be drawn with those porphyries. They're certainly right in the same neighborhood. I think probably less than 30, 40 kilometers in one case. I think it's Boschikal mine, I believe, is off to the northwest from Elemes deposit or concessions. It's early days too. They see the right alteration at surface. I've talked about it. They've taken quite a few samples. I think they have to do some more work in terms of geophysics and stuff to really prove up, the targets and before they start drilling. But these are all looking like very, very good porphyry targets. And, there is also potential for sedimentary copper as well in Kazakhstan. So, of that ilk too.
Okay, thanks for that overview. Let's talk about Santacruz Silver, trade on the TSX Venture Exchange under the symbol SCZ. The market cap here, a little over $100 million Canadian. Company has a bit more of a focus in Bolivia on production. They also have an operating mine in Mexico. What are your thoughts on Santacruz Silver and the blend of Bolivia production as well as some exploration projects also in Bolivia?
Yeah, so a little refresh here. Like Santa Cruz does have one operating mine in Mexico, but at this point, most of their production comes out of Bolivia, and they picked those assets up in Bolivia from Glencore. I think it was about 2 or 3 years ago, maybe, in a deal where they basically, bought out not only the mines but also the processing facilities. And it does provide a reasonably solid production base. Like, it's not a huge operation, but it is an operation that, say, puts them on a footing to generate, 15-ish million ounce silver equivalent per year. And that's not bad for a silver miner. I mean, that puts them kind of in the same league as, some of the mid-tier silver producers that we are probably more familiar with out there. But look, I love Bolivia. Okay, other people have a different view of Bolivia. What can I say about the operations? Look, they have a really good team there. I know one of the head guys, Eduardo, used to work for us at Minera San Cristobal years ago. Very sharp guy, and he runs things very tightly. The operations are underground. They're fairly tight mines where they can't get huge tonnages out. They're not open pit, but they operate on the magnitude of 1,000 or 1,500 tons per day, something like that. And they produce pretty good high quality zinc and lead concentrates that also capture silver. That are pretty highly desired for export. So it's a good operation. Metal prices, especially zinc, have been a challenge for everybody in this space, in the, we'll call it zinc, lead, silver space for a year or so now. But the zinc price is starting to pick up. It's $1.27, $1.28 right now, I think. And the silver price is picking up. It's 27, 28 bucks at this time. I think if people want leverage to rising metal prices, especially zinc, lead, silver, this is a good story to be in. Okay, I think they've got, as they see cash flow come back, as metal prices pick up, I think they're going to be able to quickly ramp things up and take that, recycle that cash flow into their operations and basically get them operating even better, maybe expand them and even develop some new ones. Okay, so this is a growth story in that respect. It all hinges on metal price.
But outside of the metals price, do you like any of their exploration plays? Do you like any of their mines more than the other ones that could offer that outside of metal price gains, the organic growth from within the company?
I think the potential, like at San Lucas, there's a lot of smaller mines that are kind of piecemeal right now that I know that they've been working towards kind of consolidating. I don't know how to put it, but consolidating and making it into a more sizable property or target. And I think we're going to see, they're not quite there yet, okay, and maybe I'm speaking out of turn, but I think when they hit a certain level with some of these properties where they've got everything bolted together, yeah, I would say they're going to have some pretty attractive ones, ones that could generate, we'll say, much more sizable deposits, perhaps even open pit. Okay, not quite there yet, but they're getting there.
All right, Quinton, again, thank you very much. Another Stock Talk episode. We went back-to-back weeks. Last week, this week. We're going to take next week off, but I'll be back with Quinton in 2 weeks for another segment of Stock Talk. Please keep sending me all the companies you want us to discuss. We have quite a list still in our back pocket, which we will continue to cover. I hope you all find this helpful. And again, Quinton's just willing to share some of his thoughts on these companies. In no way is this investment advice. This is just a couple guys talking about some stocks in the sector, trying to provide some clarity for all of you in a sector that does have a lot of companies still around. Quinton, again, thank you very much for your time. We'll chat again in another